Chelsea just sent a warning across the Premier League. This isn't the Chelsea we've always known. This is something completely different and terrifying. Maresca's tactical revolution has turned Stamford Bridge into a laboratory, and West Ham were the test subjects. The results, pure domination that should have every Premier League manager losing sleep. If you think you know what Chelsea is capable of this season, you're about to find out why you're completely wrong. To understand why Premier League teams should be terrified of Chelsea, you need to know where they came from. Just months ago, this was a club that had hit rock bottom. A mid-table finish in the Premier League with a fractured dressing room and fans losing patience. Then Enzo Maresca walked through the doors at Stamford Bridge and didn't just change the team. He ripped apart everything that was broken and rebuilt it from scratch. We saw this at the Club World Cup, and now we've seen the finished product in what they did against West Ham. This wasn't the Chelsea that struggled to find an identity. This was something completely different. For 90 minutes, they made West Ham look ordinary. What we witnessed against West Ham wasn't just pressing. It was tactical suffocation. And Maresca has created what he calls an intelligent press with one simple objective. Force the opposition to go wide or go long, then dominate them and recycle possession. Cole Palmer, Joao Pedro, and Pedro Neto aren't pressing like headless chickens. They're operating as pressing triggers. When they engage with intensity, it signals the entire team to swarm the opposition with man-to-man marking. But here's the genius. When West Ham were forced to launch hopeful long balls, the backline, anchored by a resurgent Chalobah, was imperial in the air. Every single long ball was intercepted and recovered by Chelsea's defenders. And it didn't stop there. Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez were winning every second ball in midfield. Once Chelsea won possession, they didn't panic. They kept the ball, stayed composed, and immediately looked to attack. This pressing intensity is something Chelsea haven't shown in years. Under previous managers, they'd press sporadically without coordination. Now they press with purpose, intelligence, and devastating effectiveness. But what made this performance truly terrifying wasn't just the system. It was how every single player stepped up and delivered exactly what Maresca needed from them. Start with Estêvão, the player who created what we're calling the Hornet's Nest effect. He was positioning himself perfectly between West Ham's pressing forwards and their deeper midfielders. Too high for their defensive midfielders to track. Too deep for the front three to worry about. And once he got the ball in these pockets, he was absolutely unstoppable. Look at this run, picking up possession and driving straight at West Ham's backline at full speed. Then there's Joao Pedro. He brought every bit of his technical threat to Stamford Bridge. His movement across the front line, his pressing intensity, his ability to create chances out of nothing. West Ham had no answer. Enzo Fernandez in his new deeper role was a revelation. No longer isolated, no longer carrying the entire creative burden alone. With Cole Palmer or Estêvão and Pedro providing movement ahead of him, he could finally play the passes that make him world-class. Moises Caicedo's pressing triggers were flawless, knowing exactly when to engage and when to drop back. This is the player Chelsea always hoped they were getting. Reece James returned to form with progressive passing and attacking intent that reminded everyone why he was once England's first-choice right-back. This wasn't one or two players performing. This was an entire team executing at the highest level. When Chelsea's individuals play like this within Maresca's system, they become genuinely unplayable. But here's what should genuinely terrify Premier League managers. What West Ham faced was just one version of Chelsea. And when Maresca made one simple substitution, everything changed. Chelsea have multiple tactical weapons, and this depth makes them completely unpredictable. Look at Palmer's positioning before and after Estêvão arrived. In the first half, he was dropping deep, helping in build-up too far from goal. But with Estêvão as a focal point, Palmer could finally move to his preferred half space, picking up the ball on the edge of the box where he's most dangerous. The same thing happened to Joao Pedro. Instead of being stuck in build-up play, he can now get into the penalty area consistently. The key thing to take away is the fact that Chelsea now has two traditional centre-forwards in Joao Pedro and Dilap, with Palmer as the creative link between midfield and attack. What makes this terrifying is the options Maresca has. He can play with false nines, traditional strikers, fluid front threes, or this new system with Palmer as the connector. West Ham faced one version. Imagine trying to prepare for a team with this much tactical flexibility. This is just the beginning of what Chelsea can do. And when other Premier League teams are trying to figure out how to stop them, Maresca can simply change the system mid-game and present a completely different threat. So, here's the reality that should keep every Premier League manager awake at night. Chelsea have something no other top team has this season: many players to choose from and complete focus.